Let's start a podcast about our mental health for no good reason why. Let's call it Mind Cake.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another slice of Mind Cake
Mind Cake.
with him,
Lee Crompton, and him.
Paul Beeson.
Mm-hmm. What happened
How
to
are
the?
you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Sorry, we're getting on with the familiarities. Are we okay? Yeah, I'll give you the standard default answer. I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, mate. How are you?
Yeah, also fine.
What happened with the? Have you run out of voices now, accents or languages?
Well, I mean, there are plenty more
You just couldn't
for
be bothered.
sure. Well, no, because we didn't do our usual 45 minutes of catch up before hitting record, and then
Oh,
I didn't really have time to think about it, so we just kind of went straight into it. So I just thought, you know what, I'll just a simple hey, a simple
that's
hey.
that's good. I mean, what listeners don't know, if they think there's waffle on the episodes, they don't listen to the 45 minutes of waffle before we even hit the record button.
Exactly. If only they could. Just get an inside track on the pish that we talk.
Well, that's a seamless segue into the fact that we are launching a newsletter, which include what was that?
That was my Morse code.
Oh, is it right? Is that Morse code for newsletter?
It's Morse code for shut up, Lee.
Oh, okay. So we're doing a newsletter.
Yeah, this is exciting.
It is exciting. That will possibly give you more links to bonus episodes,
Ooh.
bloopers. Yes, we'll give you a roundup, a fortnightly roundup of where we are. So we're going to put we'll put something on the link tree, the link to the page where you sign up and subscribe. We'd like some subscribers, wouldn't we?
We would love some subscribers.
And share, please share, and tell your friends if you enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, you can tell them as well. That's fine.
And if you don't have any friends, tell
Tell
colleagues
us.
or us. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're not your friends, you can still tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we do a deep dive into this week's episode,
Yes, please.
which you have actually listened to, Paul?
I have had the time to get my ears round this one before it goes out on air.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
And very interesting it was. Yeah.
Right. Well, without further ado, let's plunge in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another slice of Mind Cake. And this week we have a very special guest. She's known as the plant-based dietitian. She has a Master of Science degree in nutrition. She's written 9 books, is that correct? And hosted your own TV show. I could go on, but let's meet all the way from Los Angeles, Julieanna Hever. How are you?
Hello, it's such a pleasure to meet you and be here with you.
Is it sunny in Los Angeles?
Yes, but we didn't have sun for a long time, so I think everyone's very joyful about it again because we Californians are a bit spoiled, to be
think
honest.
whatever the weather, you've certainly got more sun than we've got in Scotland.
Yes.
Have you ever been to Scotland?
Dying to go to Scotland. I wish we were doing this interview live.
We should. Well, maybe if this goes well, I think we should definitely do the next one in person. Either I'll come to Los Angeles or you can come to Scotland.
Or both.
Or both. Let's do that.
Best of both worlds.
Let's do a series.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess we should start on how did you go down the path? What led you on the path of nutrition and plant-based nutrition?
It's quite a long journey, and it all started, I'll try to summarize it really quickly, but I remember being a little girl and I was a ballerina. Like my mom says that I danced before I walked. So I was always in the ballet studio, and I grew up, in front of little dance mirrors in the dance studio and my little, leotard and tights. And, at a certain age, girls go through the changes, but you don't really know what's going on, but you're standing there in front of the mirror. But one day I was standing there with my ballerina colleagues, and my dance teacher, Miss Debbie, called out from across the room, "Juliana, cut out your snacks."
Oh, really?
And I did. Yeah, she called me out. And it was like horrifying. I didn't know what she meant because I was probably like 11, but it was really embarrassing. And I knew at that I didn't know that it was literally going to be the seed that was the trajectory of my entire career and my passion in life. But I also knew that I wanted to learn everything there was to know about body image and diet and nutrition. So I just started reading. And this was before internet, of course. And so I just reading every book I can get my hands on. And then a few years later, I stumbled on a book by John Robbins called Diet for a New America. And it was the first book published that connected diet to health, the environment, and animal welfare.
Okay, cool.
I had no idea about how any of that worked, and it was kind of shocking. And so I decided right then and there, okay, that's it. I'm not going to contribute to this ever again. That's it. I was like horrified. So my parents are freaked out. They're like, you're going to be a veg of what? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to cook. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I don't want to eat animal products, but I had no idea what that meant. I had no vegetarian friends. So I was winging it. I was just doing, eating the side dishes and, whatever I can get my hands on. And my parents, being good parents, were worried about me. And so they had what I like to call, they staged like an intervention because they enlisted our family friend, who's a nurse, Kendra, and we all went out to the steakhouse.
Yeah.
And they ordered me a teriyaki steak with a pineapple ring on top. And I remember looking at the steak when it came, and it hadn't been that long. I'd grown up eating meat, but I remember it's like, once you know, you can't unknow. And it was really hard to cut into that piece of meat and take that first bite. But Kendra was telling me I'm going to be deficient in B12 and iron and all these things I didn't know what she was talking about. And so I remember, okay, I'll just go back to being normal. And so I did, I went back to being normal and eating regular diet.
So what age are you at this point?
Probably 16, 17.
Right, okay.
And, I just remember thinking, but I don't think the vegetarians are dying of these deficiencies because I haven't heard about that. Whatever I've heard in the news or that they're healthy. So I knew I just wanted to keep learning about it, but I didn't. So I went back, and I was always interested in nutrition and fitness. And a few years later, so I live in Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles, everyone becomes an actor. I'm sure you've heard like a thing. Not all of us, but we do.
Mostly.
It's kind of like par for the course in this environment. So I was acting a lot, and I was doing a lot of theater, and I did go to the UK. I was in England studying theater. So that was kind of cool. But I was close.
Whereabouts are you in England?
We went to the program I was with took us everywhere in England except London. So I've probably spent a total of 100 or 200 hours at Heathrow, but I've never been inside London. And I remember my favorite part was practicing a Shakespearean monologue to Shakespeare's grave in Stratford upon Avon. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Good old days. So I was acting, and I'm back in LA, and I'm doing, I was doing theater, but I was also in an arts high school, and I was doing I got an agent finally. My parents let me get an agent. And so I was doing a little bit of modeling and movies and TV and film, commercial kind of work. And then one day my manager called me and said, okay, well, you got to drop a few pounds for the camera. Oh, okay, here we go again. So she sent me to her personal trainer. And I always loved fitness. I was obsessively loved exercise. And so I went to this trainer, and I fell in love with this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect side gig while I'm pursuing acting. So that's it. I was finishing UCLA undergrad, and I became a personal trainer. I was like, that was going to be my side career. But then I started doing personal training, and immediately people were like, well, what should I eat? I'm like, well, I don't know. We have a chapter in the personal training handbook, but trainers really give a lot of nutrition information. They didn't have the background, So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to know what I was going to say, because I knew how important diet was, because I've been studying it my whole life. So I thought I was done with school. I always hated school, but I was like, I got to know. So I signed up and went to graduate school in nutrition. And this is the first time in my life that I loved school. And I was getting straight A's and, geeking out on everything, because I was getting all the answers to those questions I wanted to know my whole life. And then that's it. So then I finished grad school. I had my first baby, and I started reading more. And I was like, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to go revisit this whole vegetarian thing, because now I could look at the science, and I know how to analyze statistics, and I know how to look at physiology and nutrition, all that. And that was it. I changed my diet to plant-based. It was just starting to be called plant-based. Dr. T. Colin Campbell named it whole food plant-based. So nobody knew what that was at the time, just a few people, his disciples. Yeah, everything changed about my health overnight, just completely transformed. Lifelong acne, lifelong sinus infections, lifelong GI problems, gone. just, it was incredible. So I'm like, oh my gosh, why is nobody talking about this? I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. And I did. That's what I started doing, was just shouting it from the rooftops. And it's been amazing ever since.
That is amazing. I mean, one thing I've noticed when I've been to the States, it'd be interesting to get, I don't know, maybe it's different in Los Angeles, and more recently, but I've noticed that actually there's not that many, I would say, healthy eateries. If you just want to go out and about in America, is there a lot more vegetarian restaurants and sort of healthy eating places now?
Lee, sadly, the vegetarian restaurants, which everyone wants to go with me to because they think I'm going to be happy there, are even sometimes less healthy than other restaurants.
Oh, really?
Because they're trying to appease the audience of meat eaters. And so they're trying to mimic all the stuff that you would get in a meat restaurant, whatever. And so there's all these like really processed foods, oils, sugars, flour, just stuff that I don't recommend anyway. So it's very, very hard to find healthy food in restaurants anywhere. But I think sadly, those are some of the hardest nowadays. Just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know, it's very stereotypical to sort of associate America with burgers or whatever, but wherever I've been on holiday, and admittedly, yes, I'm in the touristy places, but that's all you eat. If you wanted to make a conscious decision to eat healthily, it's actually pretty difficult.
It is on the road. There's ways to do it. I help my clients do that, navigate travel,
I've seen some of your travel on Insta. Yes. Very interesting tips. Very interesting tips. My next question was going to be, how can a plant-based diet influence mental health and overall well-being, do you think?
Oh, it's such a good question. Well, I like to think about the body as a whole, right? Our mental well-being is definitely linked to our physical well-being.
Definitely.
And the beautiful part about that is that when you eat a whole food plant-based diet, it's the only diet that's ever been shown to reverse advanced stage cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes, big top killers. It's the only diet, it's like associated, well established in the literature, to reduce high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol. It's now we're showing stuff with cognitive function and enhanced mood. And we're definitely seeing more, like the literature is just blooming. Like at first we were like scrounging for these few studies, and now there's just every day there's a new study on a new organ system or a new part of the body that it's influencing.
Am I right in saying that you've been involved in some of these studies?
I wrote 2 review articles for physicians in peer-reviewed medical journals, but I haven't done actual ground research where I'm actually doing the studies. But that's not true. I have not published. I've done research, but we never published the data, unfortunately. But instead I'm more of an analyst of the data, reading it every day, but I'm not really on the ground floor in a university study in a lab.
I'm going to turn round a moment, so please excuse me. I'm going to grab something from the bookcase.
Okay.
I think I told you that about my diagnosis. So I was given 6 months to live. That was 3.5 years ago. And at the time, somebody sent me this book, which I'll read out for those who obviously can't see it. It's the How Not to Die cookbook. And I was pretty mortified, I think, at the time, because I'm like, well, that's kind of insensitive to be sending someone who's been diagnosed with terminal cancer a How Not to Die cookbook. But I mentioned it. We had another guest on from Perthshire, and she was saying, because I mentioned this book, and she said, "Oh, that book, it's amazing." So I'm due to revisit, and I wonder whether presumably you've heard of the book.
Oh yeah, I'm really good friends with Dr. Michael Greger.
Are you right? Okay.
Yes, he's a very good friend.
I should probably have checked that before.
Oh no, that's okay. It doesn't matter. But I'm so grateful for the work he's done, because it's, that's the original book, How Not to Die, is New York Times bestseller. But he also just released, if you haven't seen it yet, instead of revisiting that one, there's a new one called How Not to Age, and it just came out in December, and it is mind-blowingly extraordinary. Like all the data on aging, health span, longevity, and diet. And it's just, I think he cited 13,000 studies in this one book. Wow. This poem. Okay. So he's extraordinary. And what's so great also is I remember when he was wanted to do this, and I was like, what is he talking about? But he was so ahead of his times. He decided to make a website called nutritionfacts.org, and he was going to offer free nutrition advice videos on every subject. And he would go through the alphabet every day, however, he'd go through the alphabet and go through all the research on the subject, and he would do all these videos. So you can go on there, you could listen to, like, I don't know, thousands of videos on anything you want to know about health, diet, nutrition. He's amazing. And the man doesn't sleep. I don't know how he does what he does and produces what he does, but he's an amazing human, and he's done so much for the world.
Well,
So I'm glad that your friend sent you that book.
having been incensed at the time, I have pledged to, because I think I've got two. So this is the How Not to Die cookbook.
Yeah, he has the book How Not to Die, then the How Not to Die cookbook, then How Not to Diet, and the How Not to Diet cookbook.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've
And
got
that's the OG.
that's the actual,
And he's got How Not to Age, and the How Not to Age cookbook, I think, is coming out next year. Yes, again, I don't know how the man does it.
You can get them on audiobook.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. That's my next audiobook. Now, I know this is going to be a difficult question, and you must get asked it a lot. But is there a particular food that you think helps boost mood or reduce anxiety? I know, you hear of these superfoods and whatever. I just wondered, is there anything that you would go, if there's one thing you're going to do, eat that?
So there is no such thing as a superfood, and there's no such thing as one food that's going to kill you. It's the overall totality of what you eat. And the question not asked often enough is compared to what? So compared to kale, brown rice is not as good as kale. Compared to, white rice, brown rice is better. Compared to a burger, white rice is better. So it's like, like you kind of go down the line. It's like, what are you comparing it to?
Yeah.
But I'll say for mood, and again, for health, if you feel good and you're going to have your energy flowing, everything's going to feel good, your mental state is going to be better. Your anxiety can be quelled. You're basically giving yourself a foundation, when your body feels good, and you probably know, because you've been through such a journey. My goodness, if anyone knows, it's you. Like, when you feel good, you can do anything. And when you don't feel good, it's like the whole world just changes. So eating a diet based on vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices in infinite tasty combinations is what we know to be the healthiest way to eat.
I saw something on your Instagram recently as well, and I've taken up running again to try and do some exercise. And in the UK, we have the NHS Couch to 5K, which takes you through a program of running 5K within, I think it's 9 weeks. So I have what I have over here is called park runs. So they have them all over the country, and every morning at 9 o'clock, every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, all these park runs take place all over England. I think they're 9:30 in Scotland. I'm down to England tomorrow, so I'm going to try and do a park run tomorrow. So what I've tried to do this week is not eat as much. I'm thinking it's power to weight ratio, right? So if I can drop a couple of pounds before the weekend, then I've got less mass to get around, right? It's basic physics. So, but there was something going back to something on your Instagram, which was just eat when you're hungry. And actually, I've found that I've not eaten that much, because you're like, well, actually, or you're fasting. I think there's an element of fasting was on your Instagram as well. And so sometimes, the other day I didn't eat till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then I kind of had a smoothie and a bit of a snack or whatever, avocado and on toast with some boiled eggs for dinner, and that was actually enough. But I think you just get in the habit of, it's breakfast time, I must eat breakfast. It's lunchtime, I'm going to eat lunch now, and then have a big, especially we're trying to get the kids down. Got 2 young kids. By the time we're getting them to bed, you're eating at 9 o'clock at night, and then you watch the telly for half an hour, and then you get to bed. So it's just all sitting there. So I think that there's a huge thing to say about just eat when you're hungry. And I know it's
there's so much to say about that, but that food is literally sitting in you, and it's not metabolized the way it would be earlier in the day. So it's really important to try to give yourself 3-hour window before going to bed without eating. That's ideal. But the thing about hunger, which I find mind blowing, because now I've worked with thousands of people, because I've been doing this for about 20 years now or more. And I've noticed that everything about food is socialized into us. There's breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It came from Kellogg's, the cereals and breakfast company.
Do you know what? Just stopping you. I thought that because I thought, well, everyone says breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but I actually feel better. I've got a friend who can run very fast, and he says he can't run unless so he has to have porridge or something, slow release, an hour before he runs. I don't know. I can't do that. I have to run on like an empty stomach. I have to run by 9 or 10 in the morning, and I have to run on an empty stomach because I can't, but again, I'm thinking, but you know, there's that little voice in the back of your head going, but the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It was Kellogg's, was it?
Yes. So just so you know, break fast. It's whenever you break the fast after. So
Right.
if you have time in the fasted state, the research here is mounting too. So what I teach now, I've been teaching plant-based nutrition for 20 years, but in the last, I don't know, almost 10 years, I've been teaching time restricted eating too, because that data is off the charts. It's just coming out like crazy. And so, you know, when you go to sleep on a, hopefully an empty stomach, at least you start to get there. And then you wake up, and most people aren't hungry first thing in the morning. And we force ourselves to eat because we think we're supposed to. Just like our mom said, you can't get up until you finish your plate. You can't have dessert until you finish your plate. We are constantly pushing to eat more. And so nobody knows what hunger satiety is anymore. And that's what I teach my clients. Like, most of my clients don't really, I can't tell you how many people really don't know what it means to be hungry. It's mind blowing, or full, or satiated, you know?
Yeah, but I guess, like you say, it's so, everything is just so convenient these days. It's dead easy just to go, so you never, like you say, you're never hungry, because there's just a plentiful, you know, in the West, there's a plentiful supply of, you know, you want a snack, you want whatever it is.
And not only that, but we've biologically adapted to survive in times of scarcity. But we're not in times of scarcity. We are in the most ubiquitously, you know, abundant time in history ever. And there's constant bombardment of temptation and food and all the time. And you're weird if you say no to dessert. You're weird if you say, I'm not hungry, I'm not eating this meal. But really, it's biologically normal to not eat all the time. And it's socially awkward.
Yes.
But you flip that. And you could flip that. It's socially normal to eat all the time and biologically abnormal and unhealthy.
Which is, when you think about that, is very odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just keep stuffing your face all the time because it's there.
We live in a crazy world.
We do.
And so you have to, you know, my clients, I teach them to stand in their truth and to be confident that, like, because everyone's going to try to derail you. Oh, you don't need to lose weight. Oh, you should finish that. Oh, you should have some ice cream with me. Oh, come on. You know, all this peer pressure, and it's socially normal, you know, to eat like that. And so it's a mess. It's a hot mess. And that's why we're eating ourselves to death in the West, literally.
Yeah.
We're like, in US, we're like 70, almost 75, almost 3/4 of the US is overweight or obese now.
Really?
Yeah. And 1 in 3 in the world. It's unbelievable.
I know, obviously one of the buzz things at the moment is gut health, and I wondered how that plays in with, again, a plant-based diet, I guess. Have you got any advice on that at all?
Great question. So your microbiome, we've got, like, I think it's 10 trillion, don't quote me on the number, but it's like we've got like 10 times or more the amount of gut bacteria than we have human cells. So we're more bacteria than we are human. And these gut bacteria eat, right? They're living in our body, mostly in our GI tract.
Yeah.
And what's incredible, again, data emerging nonstop about how much influence the microbiome has on our immune function, our gut-brain axis, so our cognitive function, our mental health, every system of the body is affected by this gut microbiome. So it's fascinating, right? So you want to have and what's so cool is that your body, it's constantly changing. Like the microbial makeup is constantly shifting. Like if you go travel, or if you, whatever you ate for lunch, or if you have, you know, if you kiss someone, like all the different things are changing your microbiome all the time, which is really empowering, right? Because you can shift it. So you want your bugs in your gut to be happy.
Yep.
And you want them to be, you want the healthy type of bacteria that's going to help you with all the wonderful things that it could do. And that will also get rid of the pathogenic bacteria. Now, what do the good bacteria love? Fiber, plants, fiber. So right there, where do you get fiber? Only from plants. There is zero fiber in animal products. There's very minimal, if any, fiber in processed foods. So when you're feeding your body a variety of diverse organisms, plants, you are feeding these great bacteria. You're shifting to get a really healthy, optimal microbiota. And that's going to help overall influence your health. It's like all these, every time I look at a different mechanism of action by which a diet matters, because diet is the #1 cause of early death and disability in the world. It's the most important thing you could do is your diet. But we always find all these different mechanisms that always comes to the same conclusions. So feeding fiber is great for your bacteria. You know, eating, it's anti-inflammatory. Anti-inflammatory is great for your health. You know, that's they call it inflammaging. They say that everything that's causing, you know, a health span to deteriorate and aging is inflammation. And so like you want to have an anti-inflammatory diet where you get anti-inflammatory compounds, plants.
Plants.
It's like a plant. It always comes back to plants.
Comes back to plants. I mean, the thing as well is that, like you said, it can happen so quickly. You know, if you change your diet. So if I decide today that, right, do you know what, I'm just going to eat healthily, whether that be, you know, whatever that looks like, your actual gut, for want of a better expression, flora and fauna changes very quickly. It's not obviously instant, but within probably, I don't know, will you tell me, 24, 48 hours?
Or less. No, it's constant. We are a verb. We are not a noun. We are
Mhm.
constantly changing. Our entire body, every cell in our body in about a year is completely new.
Mhm.
So nothing about us is the same. Every second we're changing,
Uh-huh.
which is really cool, right? It's crazy to
very
think
cool.
about.
Uh-huh.
But so every bite matters. Yes, every
Yeah.
bite matters. What I was not taught in graduate school or my clinical rotations was what blew me away the most was that I was not taught that you could reverse conditions or that you could get off medications. My role as a healthcare provider was to manage disease and to avoid having to increase the medication dose.
Mhm.
But ever since I started this, like from day one, when I started implementing this with my clients, everything was the opposite. Clients get off their medications in days. In fact, it's so scary. Like I do these groups, I'm doing a group right now, a challenge. And anyone that's on a blood pressure medicine or blood sugar medicine has to tell their doctor because
Right.
it can happen in days. One of my last student, within I guess the first 5 days, he got off of 3 medications that he was on for blood pressure his entire adult life
Wow.
in a week.
Right. From just eating healthily.
Yep.
Plant
Just from
based.
being healthy within a week off of medications that he was on for decades.
Wow.
Like, and I say results are typical because I see this all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh.
not extraordinary. It sounds extraordinary and it's extraordinary to witness, but because that's not what we were taught to
I think that's the
expect.
thing as well, because we're used to it. So it's one thing having the knowledge, it's another thing then having the willpower. I'm talking more about myself really, to not go in the petrol station and buy a chocolate bar or just completely derail yourself. Because like you say, society is there to derail you, like I guess to a certain degree, because of the, you know, you don't need to lose weight and, you know, or just come to the curry house with me and we'll pick up something. And but also I think my own worst enemy in terms of, if there's crisps in the house and I'm sat watching the television, even though I don't necessarily want a packet of crisps, it's having the knowledge. If you eat healthily, you then feel the benefits of that. And then I'm running that little bit faster. So you kind of then, it's then the spiral upwards. It's just stopping. Again, it's very easy, I think, for me anyway, to get the spiral downwards where you go, well, I'll just have a chocolate bar. And then that goes, well, I've had a chocolate bar now, I might as well have a packet of crisps or whatever. And it's that spiral downwards. But I think, you know, equally, if you can get on that upward curve, then, you know.
Well, yes, but let me say a couple of things. First of all, there's no such thing as willpower. It's been debunked. And you're not broken. Those foods are designed in labs by very smart scientists on how to make it so you can't eat just one.
Uh-huh.
They really scientifically analyze how to make the right crispness, the right sweetness, the right salty, the right combination. So it's not you, it's the food. And so if you get that out of your system, I always say, don't break the seal. Don't even have that first bite. I know if I have one French fry, there will never be enough French fries. If I have one piece of bread in the bread basket, there will never be enough bread baskets to satisfy that. It's not me that's broken. It's not you that's broken. It's the foods that they're hyper palatable. You get a larger dopamine hit from those foods. And when you stop eating them, your brain wants more. So it will do whatever it can to get it. So the key is to not break the seal. And the more days you have away from that stuff behind you, the easier it is to say no to it. But not that you ever become, it'll never be that you don't want the chocolate bar. I still want the chocolate bar, but I know that if I have the chocolate bar, I will keep wanting chocolate bars. So I'm very specific. I call it a day of deliciousness where you schedule in something like that. Like if you really have a period of time where you're just eating like this, just start craving. Like I know it sounds so ridiculous. I swear I never thought I would say something like this. I crave broccoli. I crave salad. I don't like traveling because I love traveling, but I can't wait to get home to eat my healthy food because I love healthy food. It feels good. It tastes good. But when I have, you know, one bite off, like a meal off plan, I feel it and I enjoy it. So I schedule it. I'll like when I'm traveling, I'll whatever, it's my birthday, whatever it is, I'm going to have this meal with this person. It's special. And I enjoy it without guilt or shame or, you know, anything. And then the next day I get back on plan because I feel how yucky I feel afterwards because I've been without it for so long. but it's not, I want you and your audience to know that it's not you. It's literally the food is designed that way, and our bodies are designed or adapted to take in as much calorie as we possibly can to survive. But we don't need to survive scarcity right now in most places in the world. So it's a biological mismatch with our
It's
society.
interesting you say that, because I used to smoke. I think I gave up probably 5 or 6 years ago, but that was having given up, umpteen million times previously. And like you say, I was fine. Well, I say fine, but I could probably go 2 weeks, and then you have that one, and then that's all. That's
Don't break the seal.
you've broken the seal.
Yeah. So I tell my clients, and I say this myself. I'm like, don't break the seal. Don't break the seal. I know that first bite is all you can't just have one. I can't have one bite of vegan ice cream. I know I can't.
What's your favorite flavor?
Oh, they have so many new ones nowadays. It's ridiculous. Like there's like these chocolate peanut buttery crazy things that are insane. I don't even know.
No.
But yeah, but it's good. It's great, but I don't feel good when I eat it.
I know that's the thing afterwards.
It's the
aftermath.
And the delayed gratification is so worth it, because you feel good, your labs get better, you have the energy, your brain feels better and clearer. And it, like you said, it's an upward spiral. But even if you do go off and have the crisps, it's what you do next that matters most. It's just knowing that you're going to have cravings. I've seen with my clients now too, there's up to a week of cravings and increased hunger after one dose of those hyperpalatable foods.
Really?
A week. So if I tell them, just expect you're going to have cravings and increased hunger, and just know what to expect it and know that that's what it is. If you go without it for those and you get back on your plan, you'll be fine in a few days. And then you get back to normal. You get back to your homeostasis.
But going back to, that is remarkable, like you say, where I've eaten less, and a lot less. Like you say, these calorie deficit diets, I can't be eating this week. Yes, all right, it's only been a few days, but I don't think I must have had more than 1,500 calories a day. And I'm not like, super hungry, but then I haven't been eating chocolate bars. I haven't eaten chips. I haven't been eating, I've been eating drinking smoothies, but vegetable smoothie, like some spinach and a lot of ginger and black grapes, and just trying to eat healthily. And actually, I haven't felt that hungry. Whereas you have a packet of crisps, you want another packet of crisps. Well, I do anyway.
Yeah. And of course, but again, that's not just you, that's the crisps speaking. And that's what they do. That food does that. It literally makes you want more. It's a chemical thing that they've created in a lab. It's hyperpalatable. You get a big old dopamine rush and you want more. But when you eat whole foods, it doesn't have that same effect. You get satisfied and you're done. You can move on with your day and you feel good.
I'm getting back into growing my own veg.
That's awesome.
And it does taste different from, supermarket stuff.
No, I was just gonna say everything I've ever eaten in Europe just tastes better over there anyway.
Oh, really?
Compared to the US. Yeah.
But no, you can. I think it'd be a great thing to get. So the girls are now 4 and 7.
Oh, they're little.
They're little. Yeah, I think getting them involved in Izzy, particularly the older one, she loves helping me in the garden and what have you. So I think getting her involved in planting some vegetables and then, cooking and eating the vegetables when they've grown would be a good thing to do.
Absolutely. Research supports that. Yeah, it's great.
Is there any common misconceptions about plant-based diets that you think you should debunk? What's the biggest one you've heard?
I want to talk for 20 hours. We can go on that for at least 24 hours or more. That's what I do every day, is debunk the myths. But I'll say the number one that doesn't go away, and it's so ridiculous, is this protein thing. And just in general, the world is, I always say, the persistent pursuit of protein. I call it the P word. People are obsessed with protein, and most people get too much. And now they're recommending way too much. And it's ridiculous. So we're all eating too much protein. It's not a thing. If you're eating whole foods, you can't not get enough protein if you're eating enough calorie to support your weight. And people are insane about protein. I just think that I think this pursuit of protein, of getting enough protein, is causing most of our chronic overnutrition.
And you see that a lot on the, on the side of packets now. It's a health benefit, in inverted commas, that it contains protein. That's a good thing.
Oh gosh,
not too much.
No, we need something. Just because something's good doesn't mean more is better. We get plenty of protein. All amino acids all plants have all amino acids. The animals get their amino acids from plants, but we don't need to be consumed. The only way we've ever extended health span and longevity in every model organism tested is with the dietary amino acid restriction without malnutrition. Limiting protein is the only way we've extended health span and longevity.
Really?
But we're chasing proteins. Like, you want to die young? Like, what is this obsession, It's crazy.
I saw on Instagram, do you want to talk a bit about proactive eating versus reactive eating?
Oh, yeah, I do talk about that because, again, everything's all socialized, right? We're socialized about everything about food. And so this idea of like, I'm going to be, I'm going to the gym later, so I better eat, enough to get through that. Or
Yeah.
I may not have lunch for an extra hour, so I better eat enough. And it's like you're eating past hunger and satiety to avoid hunger later. But like, we're not listening to our body. I just want people to tune into their bodies and listen to what they need. Like, I love that you're saying now that you're eating less and you're feeling good. You're not that hungry. And you know what? Good for you. You're not. And you're listening to your body instead of like applying some external plan. Like, oh, you need to eat 1,500 calories. You need to eat it at 9 o'clock and 12. No, listen to your body. Eat when you're hungry. Eat as much as your body needs. Your body will self-regulate if you start tuning back in. We're just so far away from listening in that it's a whole battle just to get there.
No, it has been interesting. Like I say, I'm still in the early days. I'm not saying, I'm away this weekend, so I will have a couple of, in inverted commas, treats. But one thing I've noticed as well is because of my operation, I'm on now thyroxine because I don't have a thyroid. And when they change your dose, that can affect your lethargy to the extent where I was having to take naps kind of for 2 hours in the afternoon. And I think some of that, I'm not saying it's all to do with diet, but a lot of that, again, eating less, just feel a lot less lethargic because you're not full and just, that kind of afternoon slump when you've had maybe a big lunch or whatever. But again, if you listen to it, go, actually, I'm not hungry. I'll just have something a bit later on. And I think not eating has actually given me more energy, which is kind of counterintuitive, but
it's not counterintuitive because digestion and absorption is a very labor intensive process. The body has to shunt everything to the GI tract, which is why you're not supposed to go swimming after you eat, right? Your body has to like really focus in on it. And it's diverting from all these other things it needs to do, all this other metabolism stuff that needs to happen besides digestion and absorption. So having time in the fasted state allows your body to do all of these other functions. So it makes perfect sense that you have more energy. You're not sitting there busy digesting and absorbing stuff you don't even need, especially if you're already not even hungry, right? Yeah. We've got, adipose tissue is our fat storage organ. Like our fat we're storing energy for later. So if later never comes, we just keep storing and storing and storing, and it's exhausting and it's not healthy. Yeah. So it's great that you're listening to your body. I encourage you to keep doing that.
I will try listening to it. Say I was going to transition to a plant-based diet. Do you think bit at a time, excuse my language here, but bit at a time, or cold turkey? And that's maybe not something you should mention turkey if we're going plant-based, but do you think, rip the plaster off and eat your vegetables, or just what do you think?
Well, first of all, I always like to say cold tofu just for fun.
Okay, right.
I'm not offended by turkey, but it's just fun. But yeah, so cold tofu versus stepwise into it.
Yes.
The research seems to show that stepwising into it is more sustainable. Okay. But I've seen just anecdotally that it depends on your personality. So what I like to tell everyone is there's no such thing as a perfect diet. No one has a perfect diet. I don't care who, there's no such thing. It does not exist. It's impossible. So get rid of this like pursuit of perfection. Instead, it's like, I'm going to eat more plants. If you just say, I'm going to eat more plants, and make sure you eat vegetables every day, like if you just do a few things at a time like that, swap in a plant protein for an animal protein, or swap in some beans or legumes, hummus, something like that, instead of a meat or dairy, or like maybe you cut out dairy first. I remember that was the first thing I cut out, and that's when everything changed on my health. But, and I recommend everyone cut out dairy because it's very inflammatory, very, very, very inflammatory. And it's hormonally active. And so we're like, anyway, don't get me started on that because that's a whole other tangent too.
But this is the one. We'll do that one when you come to Scotland.
Deal.
We'll do that episode. Okay, right, fine.
Sounds great. Okay, perfect. Yes. But so it's just like making the small changes may be more effective, and it's not overwhelming. But I also like to encourage people to have fun with it. Like, it's like there's a whole world out there that we don't know about because we're sitting there eating a piece of meat in the middle of the plate. That's how we are in the US too.
Mhm.
It's like meat in the middle of the plate, a little bit of potato, a little bit of vegetable. No, you're just like rethinking the plate. And it's fun if you think about it. I have a whole list of types of foods that you could eat, like, curries and pizzas and there's everything you could eat. You can make plant-based and healthy. And again, you don't have to be perfect. So it's just kind of like maybe you've never tried this certain fruit, or you've never even seen this special vegetable, like a bok choy. I don't know, whatever it is, something unique you've never tried. Try it. It's new. It's like opening up your whole world from like 7 animal products to like thousands and thousands of opportunities. Like, just it's incredible. And the cuisine from around the world. Oh my gosh, I've published now these 9 books. I'm not a cook. In fact, my first book, they're like, and you have to do 50 recipes. And I'm like, what? I'm not a chef. I know physiology, statistics. I don't know how to cook, but I taught myself and I fell in love with it. But in each of my book, I try to visit around the world. So I'll do, a stew from Africa and I love a lot of Middle Eastern dishes. And I spent time teaching and learning how to cook in Thailand, and so many amazing Asian cuisine. So there's so many delicious foods and different flavors. And it's kind of an exciting opportunity or an excuse to think outside the plate.
But what I was going to ask is, with all your travels around the world, would you say there was anywhere in the world that's got a particularly good diet? Equally, anywhere where you go, I don't know, where it might be America or the UK, but anywhere where their diet is not so good?
Yeah, definitely in the US is really bad, but there's pockets. In fact, I live in a healthier pocket because LA is kind of that's got the vibe here.
Well, plus you're all actors. We've already established you're all actors, so you've got to look a certain.
Right. That doesn't mean that the people looked a certain way from eating healthy necessarily. So there's that.
True. But that's another that's a whole other episode.
Yeah, I would say Asia does, like, well, especially Japan and in Thailand. I was surprised by how much of the street food, it was just a lot of fried food. I spent a lot of time there, a lot of fried food, but it was easy to get healthy food there. And so Asia tends to be a little healthier from what my experience. I took my daughter to Paris for her graduation last year. I'd never been there before. Oh, Italy is my favorite place in the world, and the food is so delicious. And like, I felt like I found a lot of healthy food, but I also did a vegan tour a few years ago that I hosted, and we ate all the vegan junk food too. So, but man, I love Italy. But Paris, it was like I didn't go to a single French restaurant. I went to like Italian, we went to Japanese, we went to like, because we're both plant-based, we were both looking for like healthier food, and that we didn't want to do all the dairy and the meats and stuff like that because we don't do that. So I found that kind of interesting as well. But I did fall in love with baguettes. I'm not gonna lie, that was
you can't beat a freshly baked baguette.
No, it was amazing.
Do you not eat bread generally?
I love bread. Well, I was like gluten-free for a long time, but sometimes I'm okay with a little bit. But so I will do it, but I have to like set it aside because sometimes it doesn't feel good. But I love it. I love bread. I have a favorite bread at my favorite restaurant, so I had that on my birthday. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Oh, cool. Now, one of the things, I know that we're not supposed to be talking about milk because that's another episode.
Right.
But one of the other things I've been toying with as well, again, I don't know whether they have it in the States, but over here we have something called Zoe, which is like you wear like a patch on your arm, and then it tells you whether you send it away to the lab and blah, 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 blah. And it tells you whether you have intolerances or, any foods that you shouldn't be eating. And I've kind of toyed with the idea of doing that just more out of curiosity than anything else, but you're shaking your head.
There's so many of those now, and they're all like, every single time, they're so inaccurate. Every single time people get the results, it's the foods they're eating the most at that time. So then it looks like they can't eat anything they normally eat. I went through this many, many, many years ago, and it just was like ruined my life. I'm like, I can't eat all the foods I'm eating. What am I going to eat? And now I work with people that have food intolerances, but the most accurate way to really assess that is food and symptom journal. And if you're really having a hard time, you can't identify it, because then you have to limit like what you're eating so that you have fewer variables to have to compare. If you really can't figure it out, you could do the most draconian thing, but it's the most accurate, and do an elimination diet and really assess it. But those antigen tests and stuff like that, just not accurate, and just add more. First of all, they're expensive, and they just add so much confusion, and a lot of people get stressed out. So I don't recommend them.
No, well, that was the thing. I was thinking that is that just going to be put more pressure on, and how accurate are they? And so in terms of your gluten, then is that how did you figure that out?
Yeah, I was
Right.
diagnosed with an allergy many, many years ago, but also I was like, I used to bowl over in agony when I'd have like a bowl of
Oh,
pasta. Like I
really?
wanted to die of pain. So it was pretty obvious that that was accurate.
Uh-huh.
But then I went without eating it for a long time, and it's so hard. It's so much harder to be gluten-free than it is to be plant-based, like a
Uh-huh.
million times. And I was gluten-free. In fact, I wrote a book, Complete Idiot's Guide. I co-authored a book, gluten-free vegan cookbook.
Uh-huh.
And it's so hard. And so over the years, like sometimes I would have a little bit, and if I have a bowl of pasta, I still would be in pain. But if I have a piece of bread here and there, I could be okay. So it
Uh-huh.
just depends. It's weird. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's the thing about allergies and the microbiome, by the way, immunology. We are the tip of the iceberg with what we know. We don't understand immunology because so many people could have an allergy and then get rid of the allergy, or not have an allergy and all of a sudden have an allergy. And I don't think we really understand it. And I think it has something to do with all the chemicals that are in our environment and food and water and everywhere
Mhm.
now that's
Mhm.
influencing that. But I think we just don't know. Just the science isn't there yet. So it's
No, and you're
confusing.
absolutely right. Like you say, there's some people who I know now have got an allergy who didn't have an allergy, and
Mhm.
vice versa. You're like, well, how's that happen?
Yeah,
It
it's
must be
really weird.
something that we're eating or drinking or whatever.
I think so.
Yeah, no, and obviously I've had an added interest because I've not really. Yes, I smoked, but I didn't. I wasn't a heavy smoker. I drank as a lot of us did in our sort of teens and 20s, but I've never been a really big drinker. Fairly, what I was fairly active, and you think, well, why? What is it that I've said this before on a previous podcast. We have something on our channel 4 called Stand Up to Cancer. And I remember, so every so often they do like a charity thing, and I remember probably going back, I don't know, 20 years when they used to have the advert, 1 in 4 people will get cancer in their lifetime, and then not so long ago it was 1 in 3 people will get cancer in their lifetime. They've just put it on the telly now. It's 1 in 2, so half of us are going to get cancer. But that surely, yes, and I know things are being reported more rigorously, and the studies that you're catching more people with it, and people are getting older. The demographics are getting older, but there must be something in the diet or drinks or something that's making that happen. And I go from my own experience. I've never been particularly wayward, I guess, with my lifestyle, but still got it. I don't know.
Yeah, I know people that live. I had three in like a year period. I had three girlfriends, not much older than me, so in their 40s,
Mhm.
um, 40s and 50s at the time, and vegan for years, and athletes all died of cancer. Three
Really?
women,
Mhm.
young women. It was shocking to me because it's like that shouldn't happen, if you're
Mhm.
taking care and you're being really, but yeah, we don't know. We don't, there's so many, cancer is a whole other,
Mhm.
it's like a crazy multifactorial,
Yeah.
complicated, horrible thing that we're dealing with.
I'll finish up with a couple of very quick fire questions. Have you ever tried vegetarian haggis?
I have not. Ew.
Okay.
I don't even know if I want to.
By all accounts, it's very nice. I've not tried it. I've tried proper haggis, but not vegetarian haggis, but apparently it's very nice.
I didn't even know it existed.
Okay. Well, again, when we do the Scotland one, you can
I
try
will
some.
try it.
Another hard-hitting question. Do you think pineapple belongs on a pizza?
Yes,
Really?
definitely.
Hmm.
Yes, love pineapple pizza.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I think we'll end it there. That's been that's been fantastic. Thank you so much for giving up your time. It's been really enjoyable to chat to you. And yes, I don't think we've seen the last of you. We've got another 2 episodes to do.
Yes.
But no, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Um,
much. It was so nice to meet you,
and
Lee.
we'll catch up again soon.
Sounds good. Take
Okay.
care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. So whilst you were having your drive, Paul, what did you
Yes,
think of Juliana's plant power?
I really enjoyed that. It was it was an interesting listen. And sitting here recording this after having just eaten a Chinese takeaway, I know
Nice.
exactly what she's on about
Mhm.
because
Are
I
you feeling
feel rotten.
stodgy?
I feel amazing and rubbish at the same time.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was talking about it all with Gail yesterday and about plant-based diets, and I was really interested in what she was saying about it doesn't take long for your body to readjust to that kind of diet, and
Hmm.
you start to feel benefits quite quickly. And she was saying she's had clients who are no longer on medication just because they've changed their diet.
Yes.
And it seems to have, it has a sort of a healing kind of effect for certain people with certain things. And so, yeah, it's a really fascinating thing. It's something that I might think about trying, not right now, but yeah, I think about it's something I could be doing, at some point in the future.
Not right now, because I've just had a fatty Chinese.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm about to get into a show week, so trying to eat healthily, and it just ain't gonna happen.
No.
So once the show's out of the way, and I think I've got just a window of time where I can, get rebalanced and all that kind of stuff, I think it might be a good time to try that.
Just before we get onto your week of chaos, well, more than a week of chaos, but what's been going down in Paulstown. Yes, I have to I know we've spoken about this before, but I have to mention that I have read the book that was mentioned, the How Not to Die book.
Yes, that's come up a couple of times in podcasts, hasn't it, this book?
And it is phenomenal, because you think, well, does it really? Does it? And I wish I'd read the book properly, or all of the book, before interviewing Julieanna.
Because she knows the guy who wrote it.
She knew the guy who wrote it, yeah, which was that almost went a bit pear-shaped. But yeah, hang on, I'll grab it. It's down on the floor here. I don't know if it tells you how many studies that the guy cites, but he spends years. I mean, a bit like Juliana said, how the guy gets any sleep, I don't know. That's how thick just the book is.
Oh my, I didn't realize it was that big.
Yeah, basically he goes into, at the start of the book, it's the 15 biggest killers in the United States. So first being heart disease. And then there's a whole chapter on heart disease and what causes it, and how actually your diet can stabilize or reverse the effects of heart disease.
Okay.
And the science that backs that, the studies that have been done. And what I like about it is, again, like Juliana was saying, it's not he's going, this is my book, you should all be eating a plant-based diet. He's going, it's all about choices. So if you decide that you want a McDonald's or whatever, or a Chinese, just try and balance that up with, well, do you know what? And you are with your smoothies, but just try and introduce more. He's not like prescriptive, it's not a Dr. Michael Greger diet, because he's saying, he still has the odd treat and blah, 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 blah. But it's just making, I suppose, better informed choices. Not everyone should go plant-based, but these are the benefits of eating seeds, greens, fruits, whatever. And actually, when the audiobook is read by him and he's really engaging, and actually, like you say, the fact that it's all based up, and the thing is, as well, he debunks some of them. So one of the trials said blah 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 blah, but actually we shouldn't pay too much credence to that, because it was actually only 25 people that were tested, so further testing needs to be done. He's not evangelical about it. He's very balanced about, this is the condition, this is actually the science that supports how you can help that with a diet. And I just think it's actually, really good book.
Well, that's good though, that he's using the data sort of honestly.
Yeah.
And he's not pushing an agenda, he's just laying it out, and you can do with that information what you will.
Yes.
It's quite refreshing to have that in that kind of field, I guess. It's not I'll make you thin, I'll make you healthy, I'll make you live longer kind of
it's almost
kind of stuff, is it?
It's almost, here are the facts. What you choose to do with them is up to you.
Yeah. Fascinating. And he's got another one in the works as well.
Well, I've downloaded that as well.
Oh, cool.
How Not to Age, which, at 50,
need all
the help I
Benjamin
can
Button
get.
thing going on.
No.
Not getting younger.
No, not getting any younger, and need all the help I can get, quite frankly. So I suppose how we finish the episode with Juliana is what we should have this week's poll. So you can vote. Does pineapple belong on a pizza? That poll will be on the episode, and you can vote accordingly, and we'll give the results, because we've had the results in. I don't know if you knew that I'd added a poll to the last episode.
No, I didn't. I missed that.
Yes. Well, it was mentioned in the episode, but I don't think anyone noticed that I actually did it. So the poll on the last episode was, does supporting Heart of Midlothian give you a pooey bottom? Do you want to know what the results are?
Yeah, were they inconclusive or?
No, they were it was unanimous.
Mhm. Yes.
The one vote that was cast, it was unanimous that supporting Heart of Midlothian does not give you a pooey bottom.
Oh, well, that's good. And it wasn't even me that voted in it.
Well, I did think that. I thought I can't tell who it is that's voted.
I can vouch for myself. It wasn't me.
It wasn't.
So there we
you.
go.
They are. There's our first poll, and it's conclusive, unanimous. Yeah. So I thought you'd be happy about that.
I am very happy about that. So,
And then from Heart of Midlothian, we can segue into. This is like a. Oh,
it's like you've planned this.
yeah. Well, I haven't, but thanks. Heart of Midlothian, how is the show going, Paul? Because last time I think we spoke.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hang on, no, I don't think that episode's out yet.
I don't think it is.
No,
it's not. It's not.
not out yet. So we haven't discussed the fact that you were rather let down a fortnight or so ago.
By the time this one goes out, that one will have been out, right? So it's sort of still...
because I think you discussed it. You discussed it with Cara, the spirit guide.
Mm-hmm. So that episode will come out before. Oh no, you're right. Yeah,
No, it won't. This one's coming out
mean.
on Tuesday.
I'll have to recap then, won't I? But no, it won't be a recap if you're listening now. It'll be the first hand information.
Like this is what I got confused watching Back to the Future. So you know,
yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, the company that was building our set for us let us down at the last minute and said that they couldn't do it, even though we'd been in discussions with them for 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Our wonderful set designer, Eve, got in touch with the company to ask a question or to give them some measurements or something. And they just went, oh, actually, we can't do it. So there was a little while there. We were interviewing Cara, and I was like, yeah, we don't have a set. I can confirm the problem has been solved. The set is arriving tomorrow and will be built tomorrow and Tuesday. Yeah. So that's all going well. That side of it is fine. And the show is in good shape, actually. We had our band call today, so we had a sing through of all the songs with the live band and stuff. It sounds really good.
I saw a picture of you with a guitar.
Yeah.
Firstly, I didn't know you could play the guitar.
Yeah. There's a lot of don't know about me.
Oh, la, la. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh because it makes me cough.
Oh, sorry. Lee's suffering, folks out there. He's got a wee chesticle infection.
Yeah, which is the irony is that I was doing really well on eating lots more plants and seeds and turmeric and all the ginger and all the good stuff, and then just got really sick. So that's been about a month now, and yes, I've had to succumb. I put it off and put it off and put it off because I don't like taking antibiotics unless I have to. But enough was enough. So yes, I'm on day 4 of a 5-day antibiotic thing.
All right. Well, the end of the tunnel is in sight.
Yes.
Or whatever that's saying is light at the end of the tunnel.
The end of the tunnel is what you make it. That's the one. And so you're going back to the show. So the show opens. I don't know. I get so discombobulated.
Yeah.
Have we even mentioned? I know we have, but on an episode that's already been out, what your show is?
Well, it's not Shark in the Park. You'll be upset.
There he's got it in again.
Hey. Yeah, so the show is called This Is Our Story, and we're telling the history of Heart Midlothian Football Club. It's a 150-year history in a 90-minute show. So we're kind of cramming all the history we can in to celebrate the club's 150th anniversary this year. And it opens on Wednesday night, and it runs until Sunday the 29th. There's matinees on Saturday and Sunday also. And then we have to take all the set down because sometimes they play football at Tynecastle as well. So
do they?
Yeah, they do. It's not just a big theatre venue.
Oh. You seem to be there all the time doing shows. I thought it was just like an amphitheatre for you.
Yeah, but we've got to take everything down for the Rangers game. And then after the Rangers game, the set will be rebuilt and we'll be doing more dates in August to be confirmed exactly, but it's going to have a little second run during the Fringe as well.
Wow. Will you have time to do any podcasting?
Once it's up and running, and if you have any spare time when you're working from home.
In my lunch times?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because you wouldn't use any of your working time to.
I would never do that.
Something like this. No,
I would never do that. And I want it pointed out, actually. I don't want to sex you up too much, but I'm actually in my pajamas at the moment.
Ooh la la.
Not in work time. It's 9 o'clock at night.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday. Because I've got to edit this before the new episode goes out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wrote the theme tune, sung the theme tune, you wrote the show in a matter of days. You've got a new set person.
Mm-hmm.
So who designs the set?
An amazing person called Eve Murray.
Oh, that is Eve that does it, is it?
She designs the set, and once the set is built, she will sort of dress it and make it look even better than it is. She's fabulous at what she does, and we're very lucky to have her because we are so disorganized and do things at the last minute, but she keeps wanting to work with us.
How thick's the plywood you're using?
I don't know. I don't know any of
how do the bits of plywood stand up? Who designs like the structural elements of it?
All right, so we've got a scaffold.
I told you I love construction.
Stage. Yeah, right. So we've got a scaffolding company called ASC.
Oh, you're using ASC?
Yeah, do you know ASC?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you know the guy who runs it, Brendan?
Brendan, yeah, absolute asshole.
Really?
I don't know.
All right. I was like, oh, he's really nice with us. ASC are actually one of Heart's sponsors, so we've got a good working relationship with them.
He did before this podcast.
Oh, I did, yeah. I wonder if Brendan listens. So they build a scaffold set in the stand of the football stadium, and then the theatre set gets assembled on the scaffolding. So there's a lot of moving parts. So so we've got so Eve designs the sort of the footprint and how things are going to look, and measures, sort of draws up the technical drawings, and then the scaffolders do their job, and then the set design company do their job in it.
It's a huge undertaking.
It is, and this is the 4th show we've done at the stadium, and there's a lot of pressure on this one, or more pressure, I think, than there has been in the past, because we're not just telling one little story connected to the club, we're telling the whole thing. And that includes all the bad stuff that's happened with the club as well as the successful stuff. So, and also there'll be lots of people watching that show that know everything that you're about to tell them. So it's like, well, how do you do it in a way that's going to still make it interesting to the absolute statos?
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's got to be accessible to somebody who knows nothing about the football club as well. You've got to hit that sort of those extremes and everything in the middle. So yeah, it's been a hell of an undertaking, and a lot of all-nighters getting the script finished, and yeah, but it's in good shape.
Me nagging you to do bookends for podcast episodes.
Yeah, I'm here, aren't I?
You are. And so if people want to go and see the show,
yes, you can buy tickets if you go to well, in fact, if you go to any of my social media, you'll find links for it there. But you can, if you search "This Is Our Story" play, you will find the ticket links there. It's on a website called Universe that does all the Hearts game match tickets, and the tickets are being sold through that system.
We should maybe put a link on the link tree.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Let's do that.
How are you? Anyway, enough about me. Apart from your ill health.
I've not been good, to be fair.
Yeah.
I've been struggling a bit. Just felt a bit disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
very tired, which I think actually might be the antidepressants. So I'm thinking of trying to wean myself off them. So I might take one every other day and just come off them. I actually felt all right the last couple of days, because I didn't take one yesterday. I've taken one later on today. But yeah, and then we went to I don't know if you've seen the pictures we went to London. Yeah,
because I saw your little one in her Spider-Man onesie that she lives in.
She lives in the onesie. Like, it's about 3 sizes too small for her. The legs come up sort of halfway up her calf, because she's a bit big for it now. But
could you replace it with a bigger one and just kind of swap it out? And she would put it on. Would she be,
I think,
if it didn't, if it was bigger, would she be like, that's not the onesie?
yeah,
No, it's exactly the same, just
it
bigger.
has to
Like,
be that onesie.
yeah, will she kick off?
No, I've tried. I've sourced another one that is it's the same thing but bigger. That's not going down. But yeah, it's just thing. There was. I think I was just a bit hacked off that I was doing all the good stuff. I was, I got I was running the 5K. I reached the 5K. Graduated from the
Oh, the couch to 5K.
couch to 5K. I was eating seeds and nuts and berries and trying to, I was exercising, eating, and trying to do my best, and then I just got absolutely floored. And so yeah, the running, I haven't run for probably about, I think it's 4 weeks now. It was the Friday I woke up in the morning and went, I think I'm coming down with something. And I think that was 4 weeks ago, which is why I've gone, right, fuck it, I'm just going to take the antibiotics. And then yeah, I felt very disconnected, and I've struggled a bit. But and then London, I mean, London, as nice as the social media pictures are, was, in that time we went down to my mum's for a fortnight. And then so my mum's down in Dorset, and then we got the train to London. And yeah, I mean, there's times when just the kids, I won't single them out, but you know which one it is. We're just we're just unplayable. Kicking, just kicking and screaming and kicking the shoes off in the middle of London, in the crowded streets in London, just wanting to walk barefoot around London, just not wanting to walk anywhere. So you got to carry them on your shoulders. We didn't take any jackets because the weather forecast was sunny and it was raining. And, we went to see Frozen, which was great, the show, musical.
Yeah.
I don't like musicals, but it was very good. If for no other reason than it kept the kids quiet for 2.5 hours, because the rest of the time it was a fucking riot. And if you ask them what was the favorite thing about London, third place would probably be Frozen. Second place would probably be playing on the play park that was right outside the Premier Inn where we were staying at the London Eye. And first was probably causing havoc running up and down the escalators in the underground. We spent hundreds of pounds to, stay in the Premier Inn. I mean, so we didn't eat out like expensively. We had a Bella Italia and got absolutely reamed. So I'm like, we're not doing that again. We can't just keep eating out. So the one time, because we were in Drury Lane, the show was in Drury Lane, so we wandered back through Covent Garden. And we'll just get a baked potato from the Spudger-like van, right? We're not going to a restaurant again. A baked potato and beans was £8. If you wanted cheese on it, it was a tenner. It was another £2 if you wanted cheese on it. So it was good for 4 baked potatoes with cheese and beans. It was 40 notes. And the kids are just, you went to change into the guard, and obviously we were late leaving the Premier Inn, obviously. So by the time we got there, it's raining. It's about 15 deep at the railings at Buckingham Palace. It's absolutely packed. And then I think I've mentioned before, then there's the guilt that, when I was diagnosed, I would have, if they'd have said, we can keep you alive for another 4 years, but we're going to have to cut your legs off, I'd have gone, saw the bastards off. I would have done anything to see the kids grow up. And then then you get to London, you're like, for God's sake, just put your shoes on. What are you doing? No, don't step, and they're fighting over who presses the button for the green man. I mean, just everything is an argument and a battle. And I'm like, this is just shit.
Oh, mate.
So, yeah, my favourite bit of London, you want to know what my favourite bit of London was?
When you got to sleep at night.
Yeah, because we're all in the same room. So once it's one down, all down. So by the time, again, the kids are all messed about because we're all in the same room. Don't get them to bed till 9 o'clock. Going to sleep at 9 o'clock for 2 nights running was my favourite bit of London, I think. The show was very good, but the sleep was also. How are you?
I'm all right.
Just sleep deprived.
It reminds me, like years and years ago, I took my little cousin to Edinburgh Zoo and spent the whole day like walking around looking at all these amazing animals. And then, you come out through the gift shop and I bought him a little teddy or, a little lemur or whatever it was. we're on the bus going home. I was like, what was your favourite part? Like, what was the favourite thing you did today? It was when we were in the gift shop. I was like, you little git.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. When we
seen
got
all
there,
this beautiful wildlife. I know it's a zoo, but you've seen all these amazing animals, and the best part was the shop
the
where
gift
you got
shop.
your toy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, again, I can't even remember how much the tickets were, right? The ice creams were over 20 quid for 4 little tiny tubs.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then you've got the merch as you're coming out. We go, well, we'll get them a memento because it was a cracking show and we've been to London and da 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 da. So Izzy wanted like a blanket throw thing, frozen blanket throw thing, and Erin wanted a Elsa doll, which was probably 200 mil high. And do you want a program? Yeah, we better have a program then. 80 quid. The little doll and the blanket were £35 each, and then it was £10 for the program. 80 notes.
£35 for a little kiddie blanket.
Yeah.
I mean, £10 for a program is a fucking outrage.
How much are your programs?
£7.99. No, I'm joking.
£9.50.
Our programs will be £1.
A pound?
Yeah.
Wow. That's Scotland for you.
They were free last year.
So I couldn't make it last year.
Well,
we weren't doing this podcast a year ago, were we?
Not quite. No.
Not
When did we
quite.
Start? September? October last year?
October. This will be episode, excluding the bonus episodes, episode 21.
Oh my.
So we made it. We made it
to 20.
20 was my upper ceiling optimistic.
Well, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that should be the cap on season 1.
Is that because you're going to be busy with the show?
I don't know. Just thinking.
No, but we've got another 4 episodes done.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So get them out. So what would that be? 25? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we could have a couple of months off and just upload. I have a couple of months off and then get back to it. And then by the time you leave a couple of months break, you start season 2 and we're ahead of the curve. You're already starting ahead of the curve, you see? Just a thought. Yeah,
it is a thought. We haven't had this conversation because we were going to have a team meeting.
Yeah, but we're too busy and tired.
Too busy and tired. working and dealing with, But that was one of my things that yes, in principle, because of spinning plates and whatever, I think that's a good idea. And actually, Dr. Jan came up in a conversation, not a bad idea. The problem is that because again, this all gets out of sequence. My brain can't work on this like back and forth. So, for example, in the episode that I recorded with Alison Mandel,
coming soon.
Well, is it? That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. Is it coming soon? Because we mentioned, because I think it was the day after Trump got shot, or fragments of glass in his ear, whichever version of events you.
Or when he fell down and put ketchup on his head.
He put ketchup on his head, yeah. And then his shoes fell off. So we mentioned
he drove to Dundee in his bare feet.
Yeah. Goes to Dundee's bare feet eating Toblerones. So,
oh dear.
It was the day. So we mentioned. So I said, "How are you preparing for the American Civil War? How are your preparations coming along?" And now we can mention it now because this episode literally the bookends, and we are literally going out on Tuesday. But Gemma tells me that what's his chops has stepped down today.
Biden, yeah, just about an hour and a half ago, the news came through.
All I'm saying is, if we've got another 5 episodes and they're 2 weeks apart, potentially Alison's episode isn't going to come out for another 11 weeks. There's nearly 3 months. And we're going to be talking about President Trump getting shot.
Yeah.
Time travel messes with my head, Paul. So, yes, I agree in principle, but the problem is you want to plan ahead. We're going to have that meeting now in front of the in the shop front. We should be having it out the back, Paul, in the storeroom, not in front of the customers.
You can edit that bit out.
Going to keep it in.
Okay.
What else are we going to discuss? Can I have a shout out for John Hannah, who collars me every morning at work?
The actor?
No, not him.
All right.
the other one.
Is he a big construction fan, is he?
Yeah, he loves building shit. And he quizzes me. So he's playing catch up at the moment. He quizzes me on like extra questions that he wants to ask after listening to a podcast episode in the morning. And the other day, he got to the episode where we discussed Forrest Gump.
Well, that was months ago.
Yes.
Oh, where you said you thought Jenny was the antagonist.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, John Hannah has never seen Forrest Gump, so he didn't have an opinion on the matter.
Well, to be fair, he was probably filming 4 Weddings and a Funeral when that came out, right? So he's probably quite busy.
Maybe. Was he not Rebus as well?
Yeah. He was the original Rebus before Ken Stott and before Richard
Who's the
Rankin.
best Rebus?
Ken Stott looks like the Rebus I imagined when I read the books years ago. I've got to say, I really enjoyed the recent reboot with Richard Rankin playing a sort of younger version of Rebus. I thought it was really well done.
Is he related to Ian Rankin?
No. Nepotism. Maybe he is. Maybe they're like, is his nephew?
I think it's time for a new Rebus, and I'd like my son to play Rebus. John Hannah's not busy. He's working in construction a minute. No, I really would like my son, Ian Rankin.
Where's he from?
Suffolk. Put that on the CV. Suffolk accent.
Suffolk accent.
So anyway,
I have a shout out.
Well, hang on, I haven't finished.
Oh, sorry, I do beg your pardon.
Sheila, who sits opposite me, agrees that Jenny is a cow. She has seen Forrest Gump and agrees that Jenny is a cow. So that's put that to bed. That's that poll complete.
Well, I'm glad that that we can draw a line under that clearly. Right, so I have a shout out.
Do you shout out?
So we were talking in a previous podcast about my friend Malcolm.
Oh, Malky, how is he?
Oh,
Rang you
Malky.
up. He does
good.
your friend who doesn't laugh at you and actually checks in on your mental wealth.
Yeah.
Mental wealth?
Mental wealth.
Mental wealth, isn't it?
I should be so lucky. So if you recall, Lee, in that episode, you went, oh, Malcolm didn't phone me to check in.
No, he didn't. He still hasn't phoned.
So Malcolm sent me a text saying, I'm just catching up your podcast. Can I have Lee's number? And I said, do you want to send him some dick pics? And he went, nah. He said, I just listened to the episode and he was moaning that I hadn't checked in. So I was going to like phone him up and I was like, I'm not going to hand Lee's number out, you know. So he said, oh, I'll send him a little voice note. So I'm going to play this for you now.
Oh, excellent. Brilliant. Okay.
Right, hang on.
Good morning, Lee and Pool. Since you leaked the British spy to mulch from Allo Allo, I thought I might introduce myself this way to you, Lee. After all, mate, reaching out to new people is totally well-being wonderful. So, Lee, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. You seemed a little dismayed, a bit out of sorts, a teeny tiny bit miffed. I didn't check in on you about getting a reform poster through your door. Well, here I am, through the medium of Paul's phone, voice memo, checking in on you. Hopefully you've done something positive to counter that annoyance coming through your door, such as a piece of cake, but from Costco, not Costa. I invoke the writing gods to help you fine-tune the bit of dialogue that just doesn't sit well. Enjoy your new bit of kit, but don't forget to set the timer. Ooh, painful. I am now giving 1-star reviews to Tesla, Apple, Disney Holidays, Bitcoin, and Haribo. Take care of you and yours. It's been emotional. Malky.
Oh, Malky, that was
I can guarantee you didn't expect that.
that's the bizarrest message I think I've ever heard.
But good, right?
Very much appreciated. Thank you, Malky.
He also sent some dick pics.
Oh, it's Dick Tracy. Dick Turpin.
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke. Oh, some dick pics and a lovely message.
Yeah.
Malky's a legend.
Isn't he? He is. So yeah, when I listened to that message a couple of days ago, I was like, I can't wait to play that to Lee.
That
so
was a
there you
lovely
go.
surprise.
Yeah. So
thank you, Malky. He was almost doing his own jingles in the message. I mean, it was and he rambled. He's perfect for this show.
Right?
Yeah.
Me and Malky used to tour a lot together, like doing sort of school shows and stuff, going back like, I don't know, 20 years now, maybe even longer. And our van journeys, if we had a long journey up to Skye or something like that, our van journeys were some of the most hilarious and surreal uh, journeys I've ever had in my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So
No,
there
thank you,
go.
Malcolm. That's made my day.
Yeah, that's his little face.
Yeah,
Look at his
his
little
little
face.
face.
He's all smiling now because of Malky.
Right, I only have one more thing to say, I think, which is we had to do this tonight because I am busy tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm busy doing tomorrow night?
I don't.
I am going to give myself the title of guest judge for the 48-hour film contest in Inverness.
Right. It all becomes clear now.
Now, for those of you who don't know, the 48-hour film festival is a competition where, like it says on the tin, you get 48 hours to make a film. So on the Friday night, you go along and you pick up a genre, which could obviously is different from team to team. But then regardless of your genre, you have a character and a line of dialogue, which you have to then get into your whatever you've picked, comedy, western, da 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 da.
And a prop as well, right?
Oh, yeah. And a prop. So a character who also has a job.
Yeah, like a title of some
Like,
kind. Yeah.
So character and prop and line of dialogue.
Mhm.
And so it's the inaugural one in Inverness this weekend. And I had a message from someone to say, oh, have you seen this? You're famous. And the character's name is Lee, because it obviously can be male or female, so Leah, or Lee, Lee, Crompton, who is an athlete.
So it's only half right, isn't it?
Ex-athlete.
Ex-triathlete, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever mentioned. I haven't mentioned for at least a couple of episodes that I used to do triathlons. I now got a job to walk to the bathroom, but I used to be quite sprightly.
Yeah, used to try.
I used to try.
Womp womp. Yeah.
No, then
Well, that's
I think
great.
Well, it was very nice thing to do. So why they've done it is I know Sam and Louise who organise it.
So do I.
I was were you part of it was 16 years ago, he was telling me the first one that they ever did in Edinburgh.
No, I didn't. I've done 3 or 4 of the Edinburgh ones, I would say now. But I know Sam. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've, in my honour, I don't know why they've picked me, but it's a very nice thing to do.
That's fab, though.
The character is Lee Crompton. So yes, I offered to announce them on my phone, so that I've got a video message to announce the best use of character. So they said,
is it being done remotely?
No, but obviously I'm not going to drive up to Inverness to give out the award for the best use of Lee Crompton.
Yeah, fair enough.
The
Also, it's the actual awards ceremony tomorrow.
No.
Okay.
I'm watching the films tomorrow night.
I see. Gotcha.
So I can choose best use of character. Who was the best Lee Crompton? I mean, I think I did say in one of my comments on Facebook, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to a biopic. It'd be interesting. I think it'd be a bit odd. Do you think it'd be a bit odd if you watched like 20 films with the character Paul Beeson in them? Yeah. Paul or Paula Beeson.
Yeah. So how many films are you going to be watching tomorrow?
I think they're going to narrow it down to 3.
All right. Okay.
And then I'm watching the 3 to pick. I'm not going to, I think, because it must be 20-25 films.
Yeah. I suppose, is that the only one in that neck of the woods? So there'll be lots of people getting involved that sort of in the Highlands area.
I saw something online earlier to say that all teams, because obviously it would be, yes, you get, like I say, you get 48 hours to write it. You're not supposed to have rewritten anything.
People clearly do, though.
Clearly do.
Yeah.
Or I've got a location lined up or whatever. I think location lined up because you need to have somewhere to film. But yes, you're supposedly supposed to write the film the film, edit the film, and hand it in 48 hours later. So it would have been 7 o'clock tonight.
On the Sunday, yeah.
And I saw that all teams had handed their films in on time, which is good. So,
and there's what is it between 4 and 7 minutes? Is that the limit or something like that?
4 and 7 minutes. It always used to be. Well, I presume it's the same now.
Yeah. No, I tell you what, it's such a fun thing to do.
Oh, it's mad.
It's great. It's a
mad,
crazy weekend,
brilliant.
and you don't get much sleep.
No.
And like my pal Dominic, who I do it with, it's a lad I went to school with, he stays up all night on the quite late on the Friday and all the way through the night on the Saturday doing all the editing and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a monumental undertaking. Sort of properly, like we don't plan anything in advance. We literally we get our stuff and go straight to the pub and sit down with a little team of 3 or 4 people, whoever it is, and we open up our little book and go, right, and we brainstorm. By the Friday night, you've got your idea, and then Saturday morning, you're up. You film all day on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And sort of usually for a bit on the Sunday as well. And there's some mad editing in a car while you're driving the stuff over.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people in the queue to hand it in.
Still downloading stuff.
Still rendering or downloading stuff in the queue with their laptop. Do you want to
chest infection?
Do some housekeeping?
Yeah, go on then.
No, you go on then. That's your bit.
I know. I was just leaving a moment of pause.
Oh, for Izzy.
Hello, pieces housekeeping. Oh, how very lovely.
God, it's been a while since I've done this. If you would like to send us an email, please do at sliceofmindcake@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Mindcake Podcast, and you can find us on Facebook if you search for Mindcake.
Beautifully done as always.
Thank you, sir.
And if you check our socials, you will see the link to be able to subscribe to the newsletter for extra features. What's coming up?
What's going down?
What's going down? But no, do please share. We'd like to get, a few more.
Yeah, that'd be good. And there's going to be a poll as well, so you need to get involved in the poll.
Get involved in the poll.
You didn't mention what the poll is?
I did.
Or did you?
Yeah, what does pineapple belong on a pizza?
It does not.
Well, we'll need to vote.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry, my friend.
Julieanna, if you're listening to this, you need to vote yes, because she said it does. Surprisingly, I thought she was going to say no, but she's saying it does.
I will agree to disagree.
Me too. And on that bombshell, we will call it a night, my friend.
Yes. All right, brother. I'll speak to you soon.
All the best for the show, Mucka.
Thank you, friend. And
take
good
it
luck.
easy. Thanks for listening. Bye, everyone. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Let's start a podcast about our mental health for no good reason why. Let's call it Mind Cake.
Let's shoot the shit. Oh, now I've got to go to. Oh, there, right. Okay. So why have they moved it all around?